Sup fellas, is the official Antonio Maldonado, aka official AM5, and today I will be reading you fan fiction. Now before I get started, I just wanted to say that I've changed the setup from the last time that I decided to read, and so instead what I'll be doing is that I will be reading a whole story. If it has more than one chapter, I will be reading the whole story, and then I will be moving on to the next one. If you didn't catch my introduction from earlier, then it was that I would read one chapter of whatever story that I was reading that was multi-chapter, and then I would go on to the next one. And if you commented down below that you wanted to hear more, then I would do more of that story. But I decided against it because I really like it, and I really want you guys to either read along with me or just read it by yourself whenever you have a chance to, or just listen in and just be relaxed the whole time. So again, I'm gonna put links in the description box below so that you can check out the story for yourself, and you can check out the author on FF. And I believe that is it as far as that is concerned. So I just wanted to point that out. And now I'm going to get started with this next one. This is A Lifetime and I Still Don't Know You, Chapter 2, Little Bird. Winded and shocked at the sudden collision, the red-hooded cardinal sat up before shaking his head to get off of his bearings. The small yellow canary, however, was extremely dizzy and couldn't see very well from his abrupt leave from the beach leading up to his unfortunate crash. Neither of the birds had any idea who or what had crashed into them, as they were still back to back, until the canary, who had been hoping he had flown into a wall or the top of a power main, heard movement behind him. Scrambling to his knees to face his opponent, clasping his wings together and squeezing his eyes tight shut, he cried out, "Please don't hurt me. I'm sorry, man. I didn't mean to fly into you. I was just trying to get away from the beach because there are these seagulls that were all laughing at me. They were calling me names, and all I wanted to do was get into Rio to see the sights, But I've been flying for days, and the winds are getting harder to fly against, and all I want to do is find somewhere to sleep. So I'm really sorry, bro." Halfway through the canary's rant, the cardinal had turned around to see the pleading bird at his feet. He glanced around just to find that it was him the canary was pleading to. Instead of stopping the bird, the cardinal was very curious to what he had to say, and since hadn't opened his eyes to see that his predator was nothing more than a red-hooded cardinal around the same age as him and with not much more height. Once the smaller bird had finished, he stayed on his knees with his eyes shut tight, as if waiting for a blow in the face. It never came. Instead, he felt a wing on his shoulder, causing him to open his eyes and see that the bird he had been fearing seemed pretty harmless and rather kind-looking. But he wasn't going to judge too soon. After all, his vision was still impaired due to his tear-filled eyes. "It's okay, bird. I ain't gonna hurt you. Just easy up a little on your breathing or you're gonna pass out." The bird hadn't been aware of how fast or how hard he had been breathing until now. He could hear his own heart thundering against his chest, creating a humming sound rather than a steady beat. "Now, you're gonna have to explain to me how you ended up like this," The cardinal gestured to a few missing yellow feathers and the few that were smeared red. I couldn't really hear you, you were talking so fast. The small yellow bird flicked his eyes about before answering the cardinal, stuttering his way through the story of how he had flown in from Tenerife, making the tough decision to leave his parents and siblings behind, battled the winds and escaped the seagulls. The short story had really taken its toll on the tiny bird, flooding his mind with the events, breaking him down into tears. Now, the cardinal wasn't the kind of bird that was used to this, but it didn't mean he didn't have a heart. He felt sorry for the yellow one, and he put his wing around the little one's tiny frame, pulling him closer to his large gray chest, hushing him effectively. Whoa, hey now, come on, little bird. Things will be all right. Now hush, settle down. Sure, you've been on a hell of a journey and you're exhausted. I'm guessing you want to sleep, huh? The smaller bird sniffed up and nodded against the larger bird. You don't have anywhere to stay, do you, little guy? He continued. Again, the smaller bird said nothing but only shook his head and looked at the ground. The red-hooded bird sensed his sadness and the fear on the subject and lowered his head to rest his beak on top of the canary's head, rubbing into his feathers lightly, hoping it would comfort the canary before saying, Well, little bird, tonight is your lucky night because you flew into Pedro, and Pedro has a pad you can crash in with him. Well, me. That's if you want to, of course. The canary twitched and looked up at Pedro with a small smile and spoke in a small voice. I would very much appreciate it, as long as it was no trouble for you. Pedro smiled down at him, replying, Not at all, bird. The canary then hugged onto Pedro once more as a thank you before wiping off any tears with his wings, hopping back and smiled at him. Thank you so much, Pedro. Anytime, little bird, Pedro spoke back. You ready to fly then? The little bird nodded and hopped towards the edge of the building, looking out at the dark city as Pedro readied himself for the flight. Hey, before we set off, what's your name? I can't keep calling you little bird, Pedro called over. The little yellow canary laughed lightly and grinned. Nico. My name's Nico. Well, Nico, let's fly. And that is Lifetime and I Still Don't Know You, Chapter 2. Again, if you liked it, leave a like. And if you have any other suggestions, leave a comment down below. I will link the author, GoreAndGlitter, and I will also link the story just in case you kind of want to follow along. I've gotten the question of why does it sound so echoey, and the truth is, at the time that I'm recording this right now, I am a little sleepy, and I just made up the idea that if I spoke in that way, it would be a voice that you'd listen to. So I don't know if you actually do, but hopefully my voice is like calming and you can get in with the story. But again, it is one of my favorites, so I will continue reading the story. But again, if you have any other suggestions as far as fanfics that you would like me to read, I have my own selection of which ones that I will be reading, but if you want to suggest some to me, leave a comment. And then shout out to GoreAndGlitter if she ever hears this. I hope you like this idea. And I also want to give a shout out to Silverpaw for giving me the inspiration to do this, because, you know, why not share a fanfic that you like with the whole world by reading it to someone else? So that's it for me. This is the official Antonio Maldonado, aka official AM5. Over and out.